Becoming a centurion in the Roman army was the most ambitious goal for any Roman soldier. But this rank wasn't for just anyone. To become a centurion, a soldier needed to meet certain requirements and possess specific skills. Let's take a closer look at the 5 main qualifications a soldier had to fulfill to rise to this position. The biggest barrier for most soldiers was something we consider basic today: literacy. This skill separated an ordinary warrior from a true military manager, which is why it was so vital. In ancient Rome, literacy was far from common. Most people, especially those from the lower classes, had no access to education. Roman soldiers mostly came from these plebeian classes and from faraway provinces where the only school they knew was the training ground. For them, reading and writing were luxuries reserved for the wealthy. The equestrian and senatorial classes who could afford teachers and costly materials like papyrus. Because of that, an illiterate soldier, no matter how brave or loyal, faced an almost impossible challenge in becoming an officer. The reason for this requirement was simple. A centurion was both an administrator and a combat leader. The sword was his weapon in battle, but the pen was his weapon in daily life. The Roman army was a massive, well-organized war machine, and its success depended on an intricate system of information and logistics, all maintained through written records. It was the centurion's duty to keep meticulous records of his century, a unit of about 80 men. He had to record everything: how many soldiers were combat-ready, who was sick or wounded, the number of casualties, and even troop morale. These reports were sent to senior officers like tribunes and legates. A writing error or miscalculation could have serious consequences for an entire legion. The centurion was also responsible for making sure his men were properly equipped and fed. That meant writing detailed requisitions for weapons, armor, food, rations, and other supplies. He had to maintain accurate infantry records to know exactly what needed replacing. In addition, a centurion acted as a judge within his unit, enforcing military law and discipline. He had to record violations and, in some cases, draft formal documents for more serious punishments. It was absolutely essential that he could read and understand written orders and military regulations so that he could apply them correctly. If literacy proved intelligence, then physical fitness and fighting skill proved leadership. Unlike higher-ranking officers from noble families who often stayed behind the front lines, the centurion fought at the very front, in the thick of battle. One of the physical requirements for becoming a centurion was size and strength. The Roman military historian Flavius Vegetius, writing in the 4th century AD, said that a candidate for centurion should be chosen for his physical presence, strength, and endurance. This wasn't just for show, it was practical. Centurions often led their men on grueling marches covering up to 30 kilometers a day while carrying around 20 kilos of gear. And when battle came, they were at the front of their unit, breaking enemy formations and engaging in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Strength and stamina weren't optional. They were essential for survival and for inspiring their men to fight harder. Mastery of throwing weapons was another critical skill. A centurion had to be not only accurate but also tactical with his use of weapons. His mastery of the pilum, the Roman javelin, was vital for breaking enemy lines before the main clash. Being skilled at launching projectiles gave his unit a crucial early advantage, disrupting the enemy's formation and protecting his own soldiers. Finally, the most crucial combat skill: mastery of the sword and shield. The centurion served as the main reference point for his men, and his skill with these weapons set the rhythm of the fight. If the centurion faltered or showed weakness, it could shatter the morale of his entire century. He couldn't simply issue commands. He had to lead by example. He had to be the strongest, the most skilled, and the most courageous, proving through his actions that he was worthy of command. The rank of optio was an essential step for any soldier hoping to become a centurion. As second in command, the optio acted as the centurion's right hand, responsible for assisting in all aspects of leadership and discipline. Serving as an optio was an intense hands-on training period that tested a soldier's leadership, decision-making, and administrative abilities, a true proving ground for future centurions. An optio's potential went far beyond just fighting on the battlefield. His responsibilities extended well into the realm of leadership and administration. He worked closely with the centurion to rigorously train the soldiers, ensuring discipline was upheld and formations were executed flawlessly. He also handled some of the administrative duties of the century, keeping records, managing files, and maintaining order. These tasks prepared him for the bureaucratic side of being a centurion. Most importantly, if the centurion died or was incapacitated in battle, it was the optio who immediately took command. This trust showed how much confidence his superiors placed in him. The term optio ad spem ordinis, meaning chosen with hope for the rank, was used for an optio already officially recognized as being on the waiting list for promotion to centurion. This designation meant that the soldier had already been identified as a future leader. Among these, a good centurion needed to be both vigilant and moderate. Vigilance was essential for the safety of the troops. Whether he was on night patrol or leading a battle formation, he had to stay alert for any sign of danger, making sure his men were always ready for anything. Moderation, on the other hand, was key to remaining calm under pressure. A centurion who acted impulsively could put his entire unit at risk. And above all, readiness to carry out orders was perhaps the most crucial trait. In Rome's rigidly hierarchical military system, success depended on absolute obedience. A centurion didn't question the orders of his superiors. He followed them and ensured that his men did the same, without hesitation or delay. Centurions reported directly to tribunes, and failure to perform their duties properly could have serious consequences. If a centurion failed his mission or failed to control his men, he could be punished, or even executed. That's why only the best soldiers, those who showed courage, intelligence, and reliability, could earn the immense honor of being chosen as a centurion. A centurion might be appointed either by election of the Roman Senate or promoted directly from the ranks, especially if he had shown great bravery or strong leadership during battle. Beyond skill in warfare, the centurion had to be a role model in every aspect of life. His discipline didn't end after training. Even personal hygiene was considered an essential military virtue, not for vanity, but for health. The centurion's insistence on a clean camp and proper hygiene among his men wasn't just about order. It was a public health measure that saved lives and kept the troops battle-ready. Making decisions under pressure was another vital leadership skill. While generals created the grand strategies, it was the centurions who handled the immediate tactics of war. In the chaos of battle, he couldn't afford to wait for instructions from a tribune. He had to make split-second decisions that could determine victory or defeat, whether to reinforce a collapsing line, divert soldiers to block a surprise flank attack, or press forward to exploit a weakness in the enemy's formation. His ability to think quickly and act decisively often meant the difference between survival and annihilation for his unit. Talent and courage alone weren't enough to reach the top of the Roman military hierarchy. One of the most crucial factors for becoming a centurion was having the recommendation, or patronage, of a powerful commander. Roman society was built on a system of dependence and loyalty known as patronage. In this system, a patron, someone powerful, provided protection, favors, and opportunities to a client, someone of lower status, who in return offered loyal service and support. This relationship formed the backbone of how promotions and career advancements worked in Rome. A commander, such as a general or legate, acted as the patron for his soldiers. A loyal soldier could earn recognition through his service and dedication, and for the most talented, this could mean a chance to rise through the ranks. In some exceptional cases, centurions were appointed directly by the emperor himself, and the rewards were substantial. A centurion earned a salary 4 times greater than that of an ordinary soldier. If he performed well throughout his career, he could rise even higher in the hierarchy. Although most centurions held their positions for life, from the 1st century onward, some could advance further, becoming tribunes, prefects, and even members of the Senate. The perfect example of this extraordinary rise was Maximinus Thrax, who served as a centurion during the reign of Emperor Caracalla. Through his bravery and leadership, he gained the admiration and respect of all the legions. After Caracalla's death and later the death of Emperor Alexander Severus, Maximinus Thrax rose to power and eventually became emperor himself. So, which of these requirements do you think would have been the hardest for a Roman soldier to meet in order to become a centurion? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one.